one paragraph. Rukmini offered her prayers to the deity by saying, "My dear goddess Durga, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you as well as to your children. Goddess Durga has four famous children, two daughters, goddess of fortune Lakshmi and goddess of learning Saraswati, and two sons, Ganesha and Kartikeya. They are all considered to be demigods and goddesses. Since goddess Durga is always worshipped with her famous children, Rukmini specifically offered her respectful obeisances to the deity in that way. However, her prayers were special. Ordinary people pray to goddess Durga for material wealth, fame, profit, strength, and so on. Rukmini, however, desired to have Krishna for her husband, and therefore prayed that the deity be pleased with her and bless her with that benediction. Since she desired only Krishna, her worship of the demigods is not condemned. While Rukmini was praying, she presented a variety of items before the deity, chief of which were water, different kinds of flames, incense, garments, garlands, and various foods prepared with ghee, such as puris and kachoris. She also offered fruits, sugarcane, betel nuts, and spices. With great devotion, Rukmini offered them to the deity according to the regulative principles directed by the old Brahman ladies. After this ritualistic ceremony, the ladies offered the remnants of the food to Rukmini as prasadam, which she accepted with great respect. Then Rukmini offered her obeisances to the ladies and goddess Durga. After the business of deity worship was finished, Rukmini caught hold of the hand of one of her girlfriends in her own hand, which was decorated with a jeweled ring, and left the temple in the company of the others. So this paragraph we discussed that how Rukmini offered prayers to Durga and Shiva and asked to have Krishna as as her husband in the benediction. And she also offered various kind of bhogas to the deities. And after doing all the activities of deity worship, now she is coming out of the temple of Ambika, goddess Ambika or goddess Durga. Next paragraph. So Saurabh Kale Prabhu can read and then Aditya Prabhu can read.
Princes were especially eager to see her because they all actually thought that they would have Rukmini as their wife. Struck with wonder upon seeing Rukmini, they thought she was especially manufactured by the to bewilder all the great chivalrous princes. Her body was well constructed, the middle portion being thin. Her high hips were adorned with a jewel brocade. She had pink lips, and the beauty of her face was enhanced by her slightly scattered hair and by different kinds of earrings. The bodily luster and beauty of Rukmini appeared as if painted by an artist, perfectly presenting beauty following the descriptions of the great poets. Rukmini's breasts are described as being somewhat high, indicating that she was just a youth not more than 13 or 14 years old. Her beauty was specifically intended to attract the attention of Krishna. Although the princess gazed upon her beautiful features, she was not at all proud. Her eyes moved restlessly, and when she smiled very simply, like an innocent girl, her teeth appeared just like a jasmine bird's. Expecting Krishna to take her away at any moment, she proceeded slowly toward her home. Her legs moved just like a full-grown swan, and her ankle bells tinkled mildly.
Thank you. So the beauties, the description of Rukmani's beauty is mentioned very briefly in this paragraph, and then it's mentioned again that she was expecting Krishna to come at any moment, and she proceeded slowly towards her home. Okay, so these are two small paragraphs. So Aditya Prabhu, you can read this paragraph.
The chivalrous princes assembled there were so overwhelmed by Rukmani's beauty that they became almost unconscious and fell from their horses and elephants. Full of lust, they hopefully desired Rukmani's hand, comparing their own beauty to hers. Srimati Rukmini, however, was not interested in any of them. In her heart, she was simply expecting Krishna to come and carry her away. As she was adjusting the ornaments on a finger of her left hand, she happened to look upon the princess and suddenly saw that Krishna was present amongst them. Although Rukmini had never been bef- never Before seeing Krishna, she was always thinking of him. Thus she had no difficulty recognizing him amongst the princely order. Krishna, unconcerned with the other princes, immediately took the opportunity to place Rukmini on his chariot marked by a flag bearing an image of Garuda. He then proceeded slowly without fear, taking Rukmini away exactly as a lion takes a deer from the midst of jackals. Meanwhile, Balarama appeared on the scene with the soldiers of Yadu dynasty.
Yeah, read one more paragraph.
Jarasandha, who had many times experienced defeat by Krishna, roared, "How's this? Krishna is taking Rukmini away from us without opposition. What is the use of our being chivalrous fighters with arrows? My dear princess, just look. We are losing our reputation. He is just like a jackal taking booty from a lion." Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of 53rd chapter of Krishna. Krishna kidnaps Rukmini.
Yes. So Jarasandha, he is very famous for motivating so many people and bringing them to Krishna every time. And all of them got delivered, went back home, back to wherever their destination was. Because he is if he was there in Kali Yuga, he would have been the greatest motivational speaker of all time to come. Because even after getting defeated 17 times so badly, he had the courage to come again 18th time in this pastime with all the Akshayani Senas and millions of soldiers and bringing them all together to fight against Krishna. Although they knew very well that previous 17 times nobody went back home. I mean, nobody went alive from Mathura, but still they were confident, having full faith in Jarasandha. So he's telling here that, oh, Krishna is just like a jackal taking the booty, Rukmini, from a lion, which is Shishupal. So this is their own misinterpretation of of seeing Krishna as a ordinary person. And we can see actually Radhesham Prabhu was telling when he was telling this pastime, he says that Ravana came as a saintly person and he kidnapped Sita when Ram was away and to take revenge वो हिस्सा बराबर करने के लिए in Dwapar Yuga in Krishna Lila Krishna came as Krishna not as a saint or as a swindler. Krishna came in his own form and he took away Rukmini in the presence of Ravana वो शिशुपाल. So भगवान ऐसा बराबर कर दिया रावण के सामने मतलब शिशुपाल के सामने से भगवान रुक्मिणी को लेके गए और वो लोग कुछ नहीं कर पाए. But when Ravana wanted to kidnap Sita, he was waiting for Ram to hide or go away behind Marich, and then he could do all the planning and come and kidnap Sita. But Lord Krishna, his supreme personality of Godhead, so he directly came and in front of that Shishupal, he took away Mother Rukmini. So Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai, Rukmini Maiya ki jai. Somebody has put some question on chat. Wow, this is not my realization, Prabhu. This is from Radhesham Prabhu. So when he speaks any pastime in Krishna Lila, he will connect both the pastime with Ramayana. For example, in Mathura, when Krishna entered, Krishna slapped one dhobi, and that dhobi's head fell down, and that dhobi was died. Who was that dhobi? He is the same washerman who told the citizens of Ayodhya that this Sita, she has stayed in the house of Ravana for 10 months. How can Lord Ram accept her again as wife? Lord Ram should banish Sita to forest. And Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam. So he had to follow and he banished Sita. But to take revenge of that Dhobi in this Krishna Lila, in Mathura, he saw that Dhobi, a washerman, and finished him. So these pastimes are there. Kubja Surpanakha. Similarly, all these pastimes are there. So when you read Krishna Lila, you can also parallelly connect with Ramayana and you can relish more and more lessons. Okay, so we'll move ahead to next uh, chapter. So I will share my screen once again. So now we have an offline participant, Harshat Prabhu from Juhu. So he will read one paragraph and then Rishikesh Prabhu can read.
Chapter.
Wait. So I'm sharing once again. So we are in chapter number 54. Yes, So Prabhu will read now.
Chapter 54. Krishna defeats all the princes and takes Rukmini home to Dwarka. Jarasandha and all other princes were very angry at Krishna for having kidnapped Rukmini. Struck by Rukmini's beauty, they had fallen from the back of their horses and elephants, but now they began to stand up and properly arm themselves. Picking up their bows and arrows, they began to chase Krishna on their chariots, horses, and elephants. To check their progress, the soldiers of Yadu dynasty turned and faced them. Thus, terrible fighting began between the two belligerent groups. The princes opposing Krishna, who were led by Jarasandha and were all experts in fighting, shot their arrows at the Yadu soldiers just as a cloud splashes the face of mountain with torrents of rain. Gathered on the face of mountain, a cloud does not move very much. Therefore, the force of rain is much more severe on the mountain than anywhere else.
Yeah, read one more paragraph.
The opposing princes were determined to defeat Krishna and recapture Rukmini from his custody, and they fought with him as severely as possible. Rukmini, seated by the side of Krishna, saw arrows raining from the opposite party onto the faces of Yadu soldiers. In a fearful attitude, she looked upon Krishna's face, expressing her gratefulness that he had taken such a great risk for her sake only. Her eyes moving, she appeared sorry, and Krishna, who could easily understand her mind, encouraged her with this word: "My dear Rukmini, don't worry. Please rest assured that the soldiers of Yadu dynasty will kill all the opposing soldiers without delay."
Yeah, thank you. So now the fight has begun between the Yadu dynasty and the princess of Vidarbha. So they are fighting now for Rukmini Devi. Now Rishikesh can read next two paragraphs, and then I will read.
As Krishna was speaking with Rukmini, the commander of the Yadu dynasty, soldier, headed by the Lord Brahmā, who is also known as Shankara's son, as well as by Gada, not tolerating the defiant attitude of the opposing soldiers, began to strike their horses, elephants, and chariots with arrows. As the fighting progressed, the princes and soldiers of the enemy began to fall from their horses, elephants, and chariots. Within a short time, millions of severed, severed heads decorated with helmets and earring had fallen on the battlefield. The soldiers' hands were severed along with their bows and arrows and clubs. Arms were piled upon arms, thighs upon thighs, and horses upon horses. Similarly, other animals such as camels, elephants, and asses, as well as infantry soldiers, all fell with severed heads. When the enemy headed by Jarasandha found that they were gradually being defeated by the soldier of Krishna, they thought it unwise to risk losing their armies in the battle for the sake of Shishupal. Shishupal himself should have fought to rescue Rukmini from the hands of Krishna, but when the soldiers saw that Shishupal was not competent to fight with Krishna, they decided not to lose their armies unnecessarily. Therefore, they ceased fighting and dispersed.
Yes, very nice. So they are telling that when the soldiers, the leaders understood that Shishupal is not competent to fight with Krishna, they also thought to cease fire. मतलब लड़ाई बंद कर दीजिए. And they also went home. Some of the princes, as matter of etiquette, appeared before Shishupal. They saw that Shishupal was discouraged, like one who has lost his wife. His face appeared dried up. He had lost all his energy and all the luster of his body, and all the luster of his body had disappeared. They addressed Shishupal thus: "Our dear Shishupal, don't be discouraged in this way. You belong to royal order, and you are the chief amongst the fighters. There is no question of distress or happiness for a person like you, because neither of those conditions is everlasting. Take courage. Don't be disappointed by this temporary reversal. After all, We are not at all. We are not the final actors. As puppets dance in the hands of a magician, we are all dancing by the will of Supreme, and according to his plan alone, we suffer distress or enjoy happiness. We should therefore be equipoised in all circumstances. So see, the demons, they are also very good philosophers. Like Kamsa is telling Devaki and Vasudev after killing all six children that I am not the doer. Everything is done by Prakriti. Prakriti क्रिय माना नहीं, गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः. सब कुछ प्रकृति ने किया है, हम तो सिर्फ निमित्त मात्र है. But they will use philosophy against Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Problem is the application is wrong. They know the philosophy very well, but the application is in wrong direction. So here also they are telling Shishupal, अरे जो कुछ होता है सब हमारे नियति का खेल है, इसमें हम लोग करने वाले नहीं है. We are just magician, just puppet in the hands of the three modes of material nature. तो क्या करना चाहिए? Again, you get up and fight against Krishna. You fight against devotees. So that is their philosophy. So I will read one more paragraph. Although in the beginning, the princes had been full of hope for success in their heroic action, after their defeat, they could only try to encourage Shishupal with flattering words. Thus, Shishupal, instead of marrying Rukmini, had to be satisfied with flattering words of his friends and returned home in disappointment. The kings who had come to assist him, also disappointed, then returned to their respective kingdoms. Okay, and now Saurabh Prabhu can read.
Aditya Prabhu can read.
The whole catastrophe of the defeat was due to the envious nature of Rukmini's elder brother Rukmī. Having seen his sister forcibly be taken away by Krishna after he had planned to marry her to Shishupal, Rukmī was frustrated. So after Shishupal, his friend and intended brother-in-law, returned home, Rukmī, very much agitated, was determined to teach the Krishna a lesson personally. He called for his own soldiers, a military phalanx consisting of several thousands elephants, horses, chariots, and infantry. And equipped with this military strength, he began to follow Krishna to Dwarka. To show his prestige, Rukmi promised all the returning kings, "You could not help Shishupal marry my sister Rukmini, but I cannot allow Rukmini to be taken away by Krishna. I shall teach him a lesson. Now I am going to follow him." He presented himself as a big commander and vowed before all the princes, "Unless I kill Krishna in the fight and bring back my sister from his clutches, I shall not return to my capital city, Kundina. I make this vow before you all, and you will see that I shall fulfill it." After thus vibrating all these boasting words, Rukmi immediately got his chariot and told his chariot driver to pursue Krishna. He said, "I want to fight with him immediately. This coward boy has become proud of his tricky way of fighting with Kshatriya. But today I shall teach him good lesson. Because he had the impudence to kidnap my sister, I, with my sharp arrows, shall teach him very good lessons indeed." Thus, this unintelligent man, Rukmi, ignorant of the extent of the strength and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, voiced his impudent threats.
Yeah, read one more paragraph.
In a great stupidity, he soon stood before Krishna, telling him repeatedly, "Stop for a minute and fight with me." After saying this, he drew his bow and directly shot three forceful arrows against Krishna's body. Then he condemned Krishna as the most abominable descendant of the Yadu dynasty and asked him to stand before him for a minute so that he could teach him a good lesson. "You are carrying away my sister just like a crow stealing clarified butter meant for use in a sacrifice. You are proud of your military strength, but you cannot fight according to regulative principle. You have stolen my sister. Now I shall relieve you of your false prestige. You can keep my sister in your possession only until I beat you to the ground for good with my arrows."
Yes. So when a person is in tension, he speaks all kinds of crazy words. What Rukmini is doing. So now we'll see what Prabhupada says further. Yes, Aditya Prabhu, you can read, and then Rishikesh Prabhu can read last two paragraphs.
Lord Krishna, after hearing all these crazy words from Rukmi, immediately shot an arrow and severed the string of Rukmi's bow, making him unable to use another arrow. Rukmi immediately took another bow and shot another 5 arrows at Krishna. Being attacked for the second time, Krishna again severed Rukmini's bowstring. Rukmi took a third bow and Krishna again cut its string, this time to teach Rukmi a lesson. Krishna shot 6 arrows at him and then shot another 8 arrows, killing 4 horses with the 4 arrows, killing the chariot driver with another arrow, and chopping off the upper portion of Rukmi's chariot, including the flag with the remaining 3 arrows. Rukmi, having run out of arrows, took assistance from swords, shields, tridents, lances, and similar weapons used for fighting hand to hand. But Krishna immediately broke them all in the same way. Being repeatedly baffled in his attempts, Rukmi took his short sword and ran swiftly towards Krishna, just as a fly proceeds towards a fire. But as soon as Rukmi reached Krishna, Krishna cut his weapon to pieces. This time Krishna took all his sharp swords. No, this time Krishna took out his sharp sword and was about to kill him immediately. But Rukmi's sister, Rukmini, understanding that this time Krishna would not excuse her brother, fell at Krishna's lotus feet and in a very grievous tone, trembling with great fear, began to plead with her husband.
Yes, thank you. So now again, Rukmini is offering prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. So Rishikesh Prabhu can read two paragraphs and we'll stop for today.
One minute, प्रभु. एक minute. कोणता प्रभु? रुक्मिणी फर्स्ट. हाँ, हरे कृष्ण प्रभु.
Yes, Rukmini first addressed. वहां से पढ़िए.
ते वरती गेलं प्रभु थोडं खाली.
हाँ, ठीक है.
Rukmini first addressed Krishna as Prabhu Yogeśvara. Yogeśvara means one who is possessed all of inconceivable opulence and energy. Krishna possesses inconceivable opulence and energy, whereas Rukmini's brother had only limited military potency. Krishna is immeasurable, immeasurable, whereas her brother was measured in every step of his life. Therefore, Rukmi was not comparable even to an insignificant insect before the unlimited power of Krishna. She also addressed Krishna as the god of the gods. There are many powerful demigods such as Lord Brahmā, Lord Śiva, Indra, Candra, and Varuṇa, but Krishna is the lord of all these gods, whereas Rukmini brother was not only an ordinary human being, but in fact the lowest of all, because he had no understanding of Krishna. In other words, a human being who has no conception of the actual position of Krishna is the lowest in the human society. Then Rukmini addressed Krishna as Mahābhuja, which means one with unlimited strength. She also addressed Krishna as Jagatpati, the master of the whole cosmic manifestation. In comparison, her brother was only an ordinary prince. In this way, Rukmini compared the position of Rukmi with that of Krishna and very feelingly pleaded with her husband not to kill her brother just at the auspicious time of, of her being united with Krishna, but to excuse him. In other words, she displayed her real position as a woman. She was happy to get Krishna as her husband at the moment when her marriage to another was to be performed, but she did not want it to be at the loss of her elder brother, who after all loved his young sister and wanted to hand her over to one who, according to his own calculation, was a better man, while Rukmini was praying to Krishna for the life of her brother. Her whole body trem- trembled, and because of her anxiety, her face appeared to dry up, and her throat became choked, and due to her trembling, the ornaments on her body loosened and fell scattered on the ground. In this manner, when Rukmini was very much perturbed, perturbed, she fell down on the ground, and Lord Krishna immediately became compassionate and agreed not to kill the foolish Rukmi, but at the same time he wanted to give him some light punishment, so he tied him up with a piece of cloth and snipped at his mus- mustache, beard, and hair, keeping some spot here and there.
Thank you. So, here Prabhupada is telling that Rukmani displayed her real position as a woman. Woman's nature is soft-heartedness. They are emotional and soft-hearted. Similar pastime we read about Draupadi when the Dronacharya's son Ashwathama was brought before Draupadi, who had killed Draupadi's 5 children. Draupadi started telling that don't kill him, he is our Guru's son. We should leave him, forgive him, and let him go back. Although he had killed 5 children who were innocent, sleeping in the night, because that is the nature of women. Women are always less intelligent and they are also very, very emotional. So Prabhupada is telling here that Krishna, seeing the condition of Rukmani Devi, became compassionate and agreed to forgive Rukmi. And